working well. He's got a teammate up there with him, and it's gonna be exciting to see how he handles those first couple laps.
Indeed, and both of the Yamahas on the front row, with Jake Gagne as well, also doing incredibly well this weekend. Bobby, yes, going for his first Superbike championship, and it's kind of played into his hands a little bit so far, the fact that Cameron Beaubier hasn't had the best start to the weekend, but at the same time this Superbike championship is wide open. There are 3 races, which means 75 points. Of course, Josh Herron, we see there, still well in the mix, because 75 points, anything can happen in this first race of 3. Let's see who gets the first 25.
And the thing with Josh Herron, he's not going to go down without a fight. You can expect him to be aggressive early on, and he said it right. He's not going to be able to pick all these guys off on the first lap. He's going to have to be aggressively patient. He's got to pick his points, be aggressive, see how many guys he can get on the opening laps, and just try to work himself from there, see where he's at after he comes out of turn 1. But he's got a lot of work to do, and he's going to have to, you know, those guys there in front looking behind the grid, they see that number 1 behind him with Josh Herron. They know they better look out, because he's going to be coming through.
Indeed, pedigree surely will play an important part in this. Even though Cam Beaubier and Josh Herron are a little further back on the grid, they have so much experience behind them. But let's see if Bobby Fong can do it in what will be one of the most important races of his career.
Welcome back to New Jersey Motorsports Park for Superbike Race number 1. Quick shout out to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Business, the Cobb. MotoAmerica and the Cobb have partnered up the Intro to Business class, where MotoAmerica and the Cobb, they get together and they're exposing new students to real-world situations and problems, and they have a watch party going on. So big shout out to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and the College of Business. Thanks for watching and working with MotoAmerica to learn about business. All right, so here we go, Jason. There are 20 laps scheduled in this race, and I'm so excited to see what happens. Let's take a look at the starting grid and how they qualified. Very unusual, but Bobby Fong and Jake Gagne with Ashton Yates on the front row. More on that in a second.
How awesome is that? And Hayden Gillen, Beaubier, and Sean Dillon Kelly, Greg, back there on row number 2. Then we got Andrew Lee, Uribe, and Escalante. Then there's Josh Herron, Benjamin Smith, a great qualifying effort, only a second off, and Max Flinders just outside there in 12th place. Bryce Cornbow, JD Beach, Danilo Lewis, Dion Campbell, Max Stouffer, straight from Australia, and Jason Waters outside of row number 6. A little further back, we got Bobby Davis, Tony Blackall, and Marquez there rounding out our field. And man, there's so many storylines to this race, Greg. New Jersey Motorsports Park being what it is a very tight, very short track. There's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 riders here as you get a good look at this guy, number 27, coming up to the grid.
Ashton Yates on the Jones Honda. That is a stock 1000 spec machine. He was able to follow Jake Gagne and put himself on the front row. First career front row start ever. We haven't seen a Yates on the front row since 2010, where his dad did it. And so good job by Ashton Yates. And by the way, after qualifying, he was so pumped to be in this position. And so we can't wait to see what he's able to turn this front row start into with his CBR 1000 RR-R SP.
And our championship contenders are all over the place. First row, second row, third, fourth row. I mean, so this is going to be pretty wild. Let's see, make sure everybody gets off safe.
Hold your breath. It's time for a race start. Here we go. Clutches are out, and off to turn 1 we go. And it looks like the 32 of Gagne got a good launch on his machine.
Dude.
And look at Josh Herron up into 3rd place already.
Insane.
From 10th. I told you, man.
Wow.
The guy's so good at starting. He has not given this championship up yet. But Jake Gagne, the 32, a little bit of movement from the rear end of the motorcycle as the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha rider squeezes the throttle.
That is unbelievable. My colleague here, Greg, said to me, he said, Jay, he gets great starts on that Ducati. You are not lying. That was a rocket ship start. And now you see Gagne leading with Bobby Fong in second. Herron's going to take shots immediately. If he can get through, he's going to take a shot. As you can see, I'm trying to go around the outside right now of Bobby Fong. Bobby's going to know he is there. So Bobby's going to try to make quick work of his teammate just in front of him. And Beaubier's fourth.
He is. So Beaubier's fourth. So we have all the contenders there. And Jay, you and I talked off camera about the complexity of this championship. It's Bobby Fong who has a teammate that can help him, and Herrin is by himself, and so is Cameron Beaubier in terms of they don't have any teammates, so they're working this by. Oh, the rider goes down.
That looked like a Honda, but we'll wait and see exactly who that was. That looked like it is. Is it
Hayden Gillum?
It is Hayden Gillum
on the 69 goes down.
And that's one of the guys that we figured would be up in that front lead group.
Yeah.
So Gillum goes down. How about Gagne out front streaking away right now? I think, for Bobby, he just wants to make sure everything gets good, but he's going to have this Ducati coming up alongside of him as soon as he gets rid of a tear-off. You see Beaubier there. Then we're going to look at SDK. Ashton Yates has kept himself in that fight, Greg, in 6th spot.
What a run we have in this first laps. Look at Jake Gagne, the 3-time national champion Gagne, who's been struggling initially a couple years ago with arm pump issues, has had surgery on it, and now it's about the strength. And so we've seen Gagne streak away as we take a look at the outside of the crash here that we saw from Hayden Gillum. Just loses the front end, and a slide for him, unfortunately for him.
Now right now, going back to your point earlier about teammates, Gagne, if he comes by and he sees that it's the number 50 behind him, we're going to have to see how he plays that out. To your point as well, Greg, having a teammate in the fight for this championship is huge. If Fong can get by Gagne and Gagne can race it up with the 2 behind him, that's going to be a big benefit for Bobby Fong. So you can see front 3 guys just starting to get away ever so slightly from Cam Beaubier. Cam will figure out how to make this BMW last all these laps, and he'll continue to put himself where he needs to be.
What a great start by the number 1, Jamie.
One of the things you heard Josh Herrin say out on the grid was he certainly didn't expect that bad qualifying position after his performance on Friday, talking about that first practice session where he did lead. Now, unfortunately for Josh Herrin, over the course of qualifying, he had a number of issues with brakes, a lot of frustration when he would come back to the team. He just didn't have any brakes. And so when he went back out there for the race today, he's put his head down, obviously, putting himself back out front, but he doesn't know if he has the race distance that Jake Gagne and Bobby Fong in front of him have. He hasn't been able to test it out just due to all of those stoppages during those qualifying sessions.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So right now he's starting to fade a little bit. Hey, by the way, play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike baggers and Super Sports Series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now.
Early on, Greg, it looks like the Yamaha pace that they're running at the front looks a little easier for them than the bikes behind them. And you can see right now, Bobby Fong is comfortable. Everything's gotten up to temperature. Now he's ready to put in the work. When you come into race weekends like this, like Bobby Fong has, the cliche is going to be, we got to just keep doing everything we've done to get to this point. So far, Bobby Fong has done exactly that this weekend. He's close enough now that if he gets a good run onto the front straightaway here, I think he can draft by Gagne, but Gagne's so good out and through turn 10. Let's see if he's able to get close enough down this front straightaway.
So look at 3rd and 4th. Championship contenders, the number 1 and the number 6. Here we go. Bobby Fong out of the draft on his teammate. He's going to go up the inside, is Fong, but Gagne is going to sweep around the outside. Now, Jake Gagne is Team Yamaha. He told me directly, I am Team Yamaha. But he did say, if I have a chance to win this race, and it's not going to mess Bobby Fong up in this championship, I'm going for it.
Yeah, but right now, you saw how much space Bobby gave Jake when they got down there. There was some 20 feet between those 2 bikes. For him to make that pass, he's going to have to get a little closer to Jake so Jake knows who it is and sees that it's him. I'm sure he does anyways, but now look, the number 6 is closed right up onto the back of Josh Herrin. That door was open for ever so slightly. As you can see, Fong has gone through on Gagne. Now he's going to try to pull the 32 along with him and try to open up the gap to everybody else behind him.
So Fong gets by, and that was all Fong getting by Jake Gagne. Now Jake Gagne has told me if he's in this position, he's going to do everything he can to go with his teammate. He's not really going to race behind him, but he definitely wants to hold on to the position, because if you think about it, right now for Josh Herrin, he is 9 points behind Bobby Fong in this championship in terms of deficit, but he wants to close that up and only be within 5, and then you got Beaubier, who's the closest. So complicated. Here's the pass. Up the inside goes the 50.
He just straight lines it, Greg, and you can see Beaubier was trying to do the same to Herrin right behind him. Now Herrin's close enough to draft that second Yamaha in the line there. Herrin's going to go through on Gagne down the front straightaway, cuts across the front of him. So Herrin does not want to let Bobby Fong get away. He's got his teeth dug in here. Now it's going to be up to Gagne to try to make a move back on Herrin.
So in the championship, Herrin's the furthest away, 22 points adrift, but there's still, you know, the 75 points on offer with these 3 races to go. And Herrin with the bit between his teeth right now, and he's going to go after the number 50. Now for teammate Jake Gagne, he's going to try to hold off Beaubier, but Beaubier doesn't want to let Herrin get away.
Yeah, look at this. This is going to be a draft and pass move. He's going to go right across the front there of Gagne. Good pass for Herrin. Greg, we got 5 different brands in the top 6 right now here in our first race, and Herrin's just doing everything he can to go with Bobby Fong. Now, this time Bobby saw number 1 on his board, I'm sure, behind him. He's going to see it again, so he's going to know that Gagne has been passed.
All right, so Bobby Fong there on the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha, and then Josh Herrin on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati Panigale V4R, a motorcycle we know is going to be basically in its last season of competition. And then you have Gagne, teammates, and then here's Beaubier on the Tytler Cycles BMW. And then behind him, Jay, you talked about it, Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki of Sean Dillon Kelly. And then Ashton Yates, his front row start right now, has him in 6th place. So Bobby Fong continues to lead in this race with 15 laps to go. And Beaubier hasn't gotten around Gagne just yet.
He's still looking, isn't he? I mean, but for Cam, he knows he's got a lot of time left. And to be fair, when you look at the gap difference between Bobby and Josh, it's 22 points. So the real difference here, this is what we needed to have a talk about here. These 3 guys, when you're racing head-to-head with just one person, it makes a difference. Now there's 2 people that each one of these 3 riders have to think about when they're out there riding. For Bobby, to give up 5 points to Herrin on the race 1 isn't that big of a deal. But he doesn't want to give up those 5 points. As you see, Benjamin Smith on the 78 is up along the tire wall here. He was running amazing, Greg. He was running 7th. And so I'm not exactly sure what happened to Benjamin.
So it looks like he's up and going, the Flow for Law Racing on the Yamaha R1. But Bobby Fong, who has just been the standout the second half of the season in MotoAmerica Superbike competition, you know, and talking to Richard Stamboli, his crew chief, talking about the motorcycle itself and the development of this Yamaha R1, he talked about how they really worked hard to make Bobby comfortable with this machine, and especially the balance of the motorcycle. And when you look at riding styles, it's one thing when you set up a bike, but you also have to look at the fine-tuning of this Yamaha R1, and the differences in height and size between Jake Gagne and Bobby Fong also play a factor in development of the motorcycle. And it really only took this team and this rider a couple of races to get acclimated to the difference between what Bobby Fong was racing last year in the Yamaha R1 to what he's racing on in this factory Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha. So for Bobby Fong, he's doing a great job right now out front, but under tremendous pressure. Jamie?
I really love the way Richard Stamboli said it in talking about Bobby Fong managing that pressure that you mentioned. He said, you know, he came in this season, and the 2 having worked together in the years past, Bobby came in with a brand new attitude, and it was a positive attitude, and it really was able to carry over into the rest of the team, and it's allowed them to go through the motions each and every race weekend to continue to improve. And that mental fortitude that he brings to the table, it's allowed him to really go out there and just fight and go through all of the laps, and that's ultimately what's made the difference. You think about the top 3 in the championship, Bobby's the only one that's been able to score points at each and every round this season, so it's really starting to pay off for him, and he's in the right mindset to take advantage of it.
And mindset also important, Jason, because when you look at these 2, and even if you look at Beaubier in 4th place, who has more pressure on him, do you feel, right now?
Well, Herrin's got to win. He has to win. He has to take points away from Bobby no matter what. So I think the pressure, to be honest, is on both of these. Beaubier is 8 points back. He needs to go and get up alongside Fong. But Herrin, 22 points back, he's got to do what he needs to do. Bobby just needs to manage the pressure of knowing that these guys are going to be putting some heat on him. But he's just really good in some areas of the track that it's important to be good at, especially coming onto this front straightaway. And you can see for Cameron, he's lost a little bit of time, Greg. When I look on the screen here, he's almost a full second behind Gagne in 3rd. So I don't know if Beaubier has the feel, but you know, I've learned my lesson a long time ago. You don't ever count Cameron out. So he'll continue to grind and figure out a way. Now, when you look through here, I was checking something out. Bobby goes back a gear there, and one of our other shots, he short shifts it really early on the way out of that corner. And you can see Beaubier looks like he just kind of runs 1 gear all the way through, and he'll back shift 1 going down into here. Or maybe he's just running 2nd, Greg, all the way up through there, it looks like. So, and then Herrin, see how good Herrin is down through this transition from turn 9 to 10. He closes up a lot on Bobby.
And tight turns, too.
He's right on the wheel, but then when they get into this fast right, Bobby feels really good on the Yamaha, and he's able to hold off that Ducati down the straight.
Josh got a good run this time, though. Up onto the meat of the tire he goes, but he's not in a position to strike. Fong down into turn number 1, and Gagne closing up. So it's a little bit of an accordion effect for the 32, and Jake Gagne would like nothing more than be able to throw an attack at the number 1 bike and put himself in between the number 1 and his teammate. But for Gagne right now, we talked about like the strength in his hand over the course of the season, and how the strength starts to get a little bit weaker as time. It's not pain, it's just the strength for Gagne. And he said this track is probably the least amount of loss, but still we're at that halfway point of the race now as we get here. So we got to look to see setups, what Jamie talked about with the number 1, and we got to look about the tires as well as the physical conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is what I can't state enough is that right now the thing for Herrin is he's looking ahead of him. He's got to get by Bobby Fong. But with Gagne putting that pressure on and seeing +0 on your board, meaning Herrin has not seen a gap open up behind him, the 32's got to continue to put the pressure on to help his teammate the best that he can. Herrin is starting to try to figure out this last little bit of the lap that he sees Bobby's been a little better at, and Josh is starting to sort that out himself. So, but for Gagne, if there's any way that Gagne can help his partner, it's going to be to try to get somewhere up underneath him, as Herrin's going to have a look down into turn 1 on this lap.
Here goes Josh Herrin from 10th on the grid to leading this race number 1, and Bobby Fong's going, what just happened here? So Herrin to the lead after losing about 0.6 of a second a lap. Bobby Fong his best lap time. Herrin sets his fastest lap of the race.
That is pure racecraft right there, though. Herrin knew that he needed to try to improve and clean up that last part of the lap, and he was able to do that. So he started figuring out a way to get down into, and you see here, Greg, they come across the line. He drafts by Bobby just enough to show that red Ducati's up the inside. Bobby's going to recognize that right there, give him a little bit of room. But now I feel like what Herrin's going to want to do is win this race at the slowest pace possible to bring some other people back into play. But so now we got to see how Bobby wants to play this. Does he want to try to go back past Herrin? If the opportunity comes, I believe Bobby will go back by.
The only thing I'm concerned about is the movement in the rear tire from Josh Herrin through this entire section. He's getting on the gas. There's a lot of movement that I'm not seeing from the Yamaha. As we look at the live championship, you can see it would be 15 points and cut to 17 to Herrin with 2 races to go in the season. So Herrin doing exactly what he needs to do, like you mentioned, Jason, and he's doing good. But here comes Bobby Fong. Does he have a good run on the front straightaway? Herrin does a good job. Another racecraft move to not give Fong an opportunity to pass him into one.
Don't want to give him a chance, did he? He wanted to just move over to the right and say, you can think about it. But see, this is what Josh does that we've seen him do so well in the past. The rear tire movement's not going to bother a guy like Josh Herrin. He might not have the best grip, but he's so good getting into corners that if he can just get into the corners well enough to where Bobby can't get by, you're really at that point, you're following. The guy who's got the toughest job right now, believe it or not, is Gagne, as Bobby Fong takes a shot into turn 5.
So there goes Bobby Fong to the lead. He pulls off the pass, and you can see that the group bunched up when Josh Herrin was leading, and the lap times had dropped to the 121.3 range from the 120.3. So Herrin just did exactly what you were saying,
That's
Jason.
Right.
He tried to slow the pace down to try to control it, but it didn't work because there's plenty of opportunities here at New Jersey Motorsports Park to pass, and Bobby Fong took advantage of one of those.
Yeah, well, right now you can see he's going to straight line it right to turn 5, and Bobby Fong knows he's got 3 Superbike champions behind him at this moment. So Bobby makes quick work there of Herrin as they go down into turn 5. We'll see if these lap times start to drop. But Gagne now is the guy who has the hardest job here. He wants to help his teammate, doesn't want to impact the championship too much in the sense of in a negative way, as Beaubier looks like he's got a run on Gagne going down into turn number 1. Let's see if he's able to make this pass. Now you got your top 3 championship guys all battling for the lead, Greg.
So Beaubier into 3rd, and Bobby Fong leading the way, the only rider in the top 4 that doesn't have a Superbike championship to his resume. What does it represent behind him? The number 1, the number 6, and the 32. Of the 10 seasons we've had champions, that's 9 of them behind him. The only rider not in this field who's won a Superbike championship, Tony Elias, back in 2017. The pressure on Bobby Fong in this race number 1 of 3 on the weekend, pretty intense.
Yeah, it's very intense, but Bobby seems so far like he's handling his business pretty well. 21-2 that last time by. Let's see what they get down to. And incidentally, Only, 1.2 back behind Gagne right now is Sean Dillon Kelly on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. You see him lurking back there, Greg. He's at a 21.1. He was actually quicker than the leader the last time by. So SDK is still digging back there, but Bobby Fong, this is where he's got to try to continue to shine through this last sector. It just seems to me on tip in there, Bobby doesn't have the confidence in the left to just kind of throw the bike in, where Herrin does. But his exit out of 10 is good. And then now you can see that gap, Greg. That gap's too big for Herrin to make up down the straightaway at the moment.
At least this time as they go down into turn 1, a place where we have seen Herrin become magic. But as Jamie mentioned, talk about brake issues for the team. Looks like they have sorted that out. But Josh Herrin, that is a big tool in his toolbox, is braking for the number 1. But Bobby Fong, he's got a little bit of a gap right now. You saw earlier the live championship point standings and where they'd go. If you're new to MotoAmerica, we award, as a rider gets out of the way, 25 points for first, 20 for second, 16 for third, and 13 for fourth. So these 4 riders that are also close with just Sean Dillon Kelly off the back, every point matters.
Beaubier right there had his first little look. If Herrin opens up the door going into 5, next lap by, as he gets in a little bit deep, Greg, that's off camber going into 6, and you can see the Ducati got in a little bit deep, lost the front ever so slightly and prevented him from turning. There's a gap now that's starting to create. Bobby Fong would love nothing more than to see a second on his pit board. I know that team's not going to show it to him this lap, but that turn 5 area, it looks like the one place where Josh could be a little susceptible to a pass from that number 6. If the 6 can be close enough through that fast turn 4, expect to see him go through as he runs over the inside curbing.
Yeah, a little bit out of shape for the number 1. Onto the front straightaway we go. And here is the number 6 as Herrin shakes his head because he knows what just happened, and he's going to give up a position to Beaubier. So Beaubier now takes over second spot, and we'll see if he has anything in the tank to go after Fong and try to close that gap as Beaubier with another front end save.
Oh, what a move by Fong to get by that traffic there. That's going to hold these guys up all through this spot. That is huge for Bobby Fong to get by. So along with Beaubier's mistake and the slower rider getting in the way, Bobby Fong now is going to see a gap open up.
So a good move by Bobby Fong. Very World Endurance style move in a championship hunt for Fong, but for Beaubier, another front end, and this has been what has been plaguing the number 6 for the last couple races, the lack of front end feel.
There's 2 things, Greg, that really played out in that last 45 seconds. Number 1, the front end slide from Beaubier. That is crucial because we've seen him fall twice this weekend. We saw that big save at Coda. He is lacking maybe a little bit of feel. And the other thing, what does this do to Josh Herrin? He knows he has to win. His camera makes another mistake getting in wide. Herrin has to win. And now he's seeing that disappear out in front of him. Bobby Fong is gone now. He had a 1.1 second lead the last lap. That's going to balloon, Greg, to probably closer to 2 seconds. So for Herrin, that's going to be a big loss for him as he's going to battle back on Beaubier down this front straightaway and try to go up underneath the BMW when they get down here, and then he's not going to be able to make it.
So Beaubier into turn number 1. The lap times have dropped for those riders. Bobby Fong, 2 laps ago, was still in the 120s. He's now dropped it to 120.1, where Beaubier 121.9, 122.1, and 120 for Herrin and Gagne respectively. So right now, Bobby Fong doesn't need to go at fastest lap pace, but these riders right here, second and third in the championship, are battling it out. All the while, now you look at the M4 X-Star Suzuki of
SDK.
Sean Dillon Kelly, and he is now in the mix for the Vision Wheel rider.
Yeah, he's done a good job of just keeping the fight. And you can see that mid-corner speed that the Ducati had over the BMW?
Yeah.
That's Cameron just being a little bit safe through the middle of turn 6. When you start losing the front so big that your outside foot comes off the foot peg, that's a big warning sign. And you can see Bobby Fong now, 1.9 seconds to your point last time by, Greg. The first split, he matched, Beaubier matched in the second split, 10th quicker again for Fong. Let's see what the third split looks like. 28.3, he's got another 10th. So he's this lap now, he should have over a 2-second lead at the front, should the number 50.
Extremely fast turn number 12 onto the front straightaway. Beaubier behind the bubble, and it looks like Herrin got a good run as he goes side by side. You can see on the shadows that it looks like an inside position for the number 1. So Josh Herrin will take second place away from Cameron Beaubier, at least for this lap.
Yeah, now it's going to be, can Herrin put his head down, try to do something in the next 5 laps to try to get away. Now, for Jake Gagne, you know he knows what the point spread is. It's 8 points back to Beaubier. So if Gagne can get himself close enough to do something with the number 6, he would be doing his teammate a huge favor, Greg, because the lead would go from 22 over Herrin to 27. And if Gagne can somehow get by Beaubier, it could make Bobby Sunday a lot easier.
So for Josh Herrin, he is racing hard, and he's definitely working the rear tire on his Ducati.
He's done so few laps, like yesterday afternoon and this morning, the number 1, and to come from 10th on the grid and get that start that he got and to continue to fight, this is what you'd expect from him. And you knew he wasn't going to go down just laying on his back there, Greg. He's going to keep fighting. And Beaubier, look at him digging in as well. These guys all know how important it is to get those 20 points in second spot.
Both of these riders, the number 1 and the 6, are riding so hard right now.
Oh man, looked like Herrin got in there a little bit quick into that last corner. He makes that pass. SDK now looks like he's going to take a stab at Gagne. You see it in the background there. There goes the 40. So the 40 of SDK goes up underneath Gagne. Let's see if he can play a factor into this, because what does he want to do?
He wants a podium.
He wants to get that team on the podium.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
This is all about Sean Dylan Kelly's contract is up. There's been a lot of conversation about what his future holds for 2026. The Floridian on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. But man, a lot of people are talking about how good Sean Dylan Kelly is on a Superbike. And look, he's not in this championship, but he's also mature enough to know that he's going to not mess around with the championship if it comes down to it. If he has an opportunity to pass for a podium spot, SDK is going to do it, and he'll do it cleanly.
Yes, he will. I cannot say enough what we're seeing from Bobby Fong. Almost a 3-second lead now over this chasing pack that has to beat him. For Fong to be able to handle the pressure at the front, continue to pull away, hit his marks, do the things he needs to do. Can't say enough about that. As they come up on Bobby Davis right now. He gets out of the way. Very nice there of this battle for second. But Fong is up the road, Greg, and gone.
Boy, this is a rapid pace as Bobby Fong now, Jamie, up to 3.5 seconds margin of lead.
Well, you made the point earlier, Jason did, about the lack of laps that Josh Herrin did with the brake issues that he had, the lack of laps that Cameron Beaubier got over the course of the weekend with his 2 offs that he had in the qualifying sessions, just totaling how that compares to what Bobby Fong has had over the course of the weekend. He's done 60 laps through the session compared to Beaubier's 45 and Herrin's 41. So he knows now with 3 laps to go, he's got a ton of confidence in what's underneath him. He knows exactly how those tires hold on for the full stint of this 20-lap race. And so for him, he's able to just put his head down and go down and attack.
And that's not Bobby Fong just here. It's been Bobby Fong on the grind all year long. Here comes Sean Dylan Kelly side by side with Beaubier. We talked about how close he's going to race it, but no contact.
Yeah, but let me tell you what this is. Sean Dylan Kelly, that's good bike control. He realizes what's going on ahead of him. He wants to make sure that that pass is going to be clean. Sean Dylan Kelly, a champion in his own right, he wants to make sure that if he gets involved, he wants to make a good, clean pass on either one of the 2 guys that are battling at the front for this championship. So very heads-up riding from SDK. You can see Beaubier gave him a little bit of room as well. See right here, SDK thinks, okay, I think I got this. But then he's going to see Cameron start to come down back across the front. And you'll see Beaubier just kind of give him a little bit of room. Both those guys, that's tight, Greg. But if this was a race for just a straight-up victory or a straight-up win, SDK would have tried to push that fact a little more, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so 2 laps to go as Bobby Fong now 3.8 seconds out front. We're looking at the battle for second between Josh Herrin, number 1, Cameron Beaubier, number 3. So out front is Bobby Fong and then these 2. The only 3 left in this championship with our final race weekend of 2025. Sean Dylan Kelly on the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki right in the mix as well, and so close to getting another podium in Superbike. And then you have Jake Gagne and then Jason Uribe on that Orange Cat hybrid machine. The machine they put together with swing arms, Superbike swing arm and triple clamps with a stock 1000 motor in 6th. And now Beaubier up the inside. He's got to stand Herrin up. So he'll take over the spot for the moment with about a lap and a half to go. So much more racing to go. And that's what Sean Dylan Kelly wants to see. Let these 2 mess each other up, and then he can cruise his way into second place.
Did you see Herrin there? He's trying to roll through the middle. Then he got the rear of the bike lit up. So Herrin's not got to go down without a fight. He realizes now that point spread's 27. So he's got to get back by Beaubier to try to keep himself. Actually, it's bigger than that if he finishes 3rd. Just if he finishes 2nd, it's 27 points, Greg. So it's super key that Herrin gets back through. Now we know between SDK and Herrin, there's no love lost between those guys this year. We've seen them make contact a few times, but how about this guy seeing the white flag, then almost a 4-second lead.
Bobby Fong under all the pressure, controlling this race with 1 lap to go. But this final couple of podium spots still yet to be decided, and massive implications in the championship hunt. Cameron Beaubier coming in here 8 points behind Fong, who's leading the way, desperately wants to finish second and minimize the damage to 5 points, but for 22 points adrift, number 1 of Josh Herrin. He wants those points, and here we go on this final lap. What is going to happen?
Beaubier is going to shut the door in turn 5. He's going to go through this turn 4. He's going to move over to the left. Yeah, you can see him just fighting things. See how tight he is there? There was no way he was going to let anybody come up underneath him there. These 5 points mean a ton to Cam Beaubier. It keeps him in the hunt. Look at Herrin still looking to have a go. So for Herrin now, I think he's going to either try to do something down to this next right-hander. Too far back. Now, Greg, it really is a run to the flag. Will the Ducati be able to draft back past that BMW?
Herrin's roll speed is impressive.
It is.
Oh, it looked like he almost tucked it for a moment there, but Herrin in good shape. So final couple corners to go for Bobby Fong and for Beaubier, Herrin, and Sean Dillon Kelly. What does Kelly have? Does he have anything on the run? Here we go. Onto the front straightaway comes our race leader and this battle for second and third place. So for Bobby Fong, he's out front. He comes across the stripe. He will take the checkered flag and the big win. And the drag race to the line has Beaubier second, Josh Herrin in third, and Sean Dillon Kelly a 1/10 of a second behind. So close to that podium. Jake Gagne in 5th place. And there's the 36 of Jason Uribe on the Orange Cat Superbike, and Ashton Yates from the front row to 7th on that stock 1000 spec machine.
What a job from Jason Uribe, though. That's amazing to finish 6th. First Superbike race for that team, and we're hoping to see them more full-time next year. There's the photo finish for 2nd place. No question there. Beaubier gets that spot and keeps himself still well in the hunt for tomorrow. What is that going to be? A 13-point lead now, I believe, isn't it?
It certainly will be.
13 points now for Bobby Fong. Can't say enough about this guy. He's, I tell you, Greg, it gives you a lot of confidence when you have that team behind you that he's got behind you down there, Richie Stamboli and that whole crew. And we've just seen this guy mature over all these years, haven't we? And for him to be able to put this in the spot, really good job from Bobby today.
Love seeing it from Bobby Fong. What a way to deal with the pressure of a championship, and incredible of the champions behind him. We're going to talk to Bobby Fong when we get back to find out how it went for him.
Welcome back to MotoAmerica Live Plus. So what a win there for Bobby Fong. The full 25 points available, putting him 1 step closer to his first ever Superbike championship. 2 races to go, though, this weekend in the Superbike, so it is not over yet. And what a tough battle behind him. Josh Herrin and Cameron Beaubier going back and forth. But it is all about Bobby Fong right now. He is performing under pressure, isn't he, Roger?
Yeah, big time. And that performance today, those other guys, especially Josh Herrin, took his shot at him early, and Bobby was patient. Got back in front and put his head down like he's done all year. He's had the target on his back, the pressure on his shoulders this weekend, and he comes out and he puts it together in the race just like he designed it out to be. 3.3 seconds. Really, he slowed down a little bit that last lap. But for Bobby, with all the stuff on the line now, able to extend his points lead going into tomorrow.
Indeed. Well, Bobby will come in there very, very happy. 1 down, 2 to go, but definitely a good step closer. Cameron Beaubier and Josh Herrin, though, let's talk a little bit about that back and forth, because it was really exciting. First of all, both of them coming from a little bit further back on the grid. Josh Herrin making up all of those places in the very first few seconds, around about first couple of turns, and then him and Cam just fighting it out back and forth. What do you make of it?
They both knew every point was going to be, crucial going into tomorrow, because you never know what can happen with Bobby, or something can come up. So every point for those two, they were fighting hard for it. Josh Herrin, to be honest, I wasn't really surprised seeing what he was able to do. Maybe not go from row 4 to 3rd going into the first corner, but that's what Josh does. He's a racer. He knows how to step up when his back's against the wall, and he's really good in those things. Where I think the big thing that Josh misses out on was a little track time yesterday. So getting the bike set up toward the end of that Superbike race, he missed a little time this morning as well. But for Josh, you just expect that out of him, to work his way toward the front. And even for Beaubier, able after the Friday that he had, to come out and work his way back into second. It just shows you why those two guys are Superbike champions.
Indeed, and as you mentioned, Cambobier with those 2 crashes so far this weekend, and Josh as well dealing with some issues. Do you perceive the fact that there are 2 races left to go, that we might see those two do better and better as the weekend goes on?
Well, I think for that race is something that Cam and Josh both needed to get out there and kind of, especially for Bobier having the crashes yesterday. Josh's issues yesterday wasn't crashing, but for Cam, just try to get that confidence back in the front end, get the momentum back. I think there was a big race for him, and they don't have a choice but to start pushing a little bit harder, because every race, you know, the championship window is starting to close, and you know, you can see a little disappointment there with Josh there. He just wants to go down with the fight going into tomorrow.
Indeed. Well, Josh Heron certainly having the pedigree. You can never rule out these guys. They've won championships before. They know how to do it. If we look a little bit further back down the group, there were some quite surprising rides from a few members. And in particular, I was very impressed by Jason Uribe, Andrew Lee as well, both the Orange Cap racers. They are taking to the Superbike like ducks to water, as they say. I was impressed with Jason during qualifying, and it seems that maybe they've got a great year ahead of them as they have more Superbike time in 2026.
Yeah, I think it's a great start for them, for Jason to get 6th, Andrew there 9th, both riders inside the top 9. That is a huge weekend for them.
Indeed. Well, there are still 2 races to go in this Superbike category, but it is Bobby Fong doing everything right in race 1.
Welcome back to New Jersey Motorsports Park after a very entertaining Superbike race number 1. And Bobby Fong able to win by over 3 seconds, but the first half of that race, things are really close. Let's take a look at these results. So we have Fong with 3.3, and then Heron right there, just a couple hundredths behind with Sean Dillon Kelly also. Then Gagne, Uribe, great result for him, Ashton Yates, and Escalante. Let's get out of Jamie in winner's circle.
For the 6th time this season, Bobby Fong finds himself on the top step of the podium here on championship weekend. That big smile on your face tells a lot of the story, Bobby. You look so comfortable out there, the confidence that you're able to ride with. What's given you this flow this weekend?
Honestly, I got to get up to my Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha team. It was a hard-fought race in the beginning. You know, it's slippery out there for sure, and I knew these boys will be right there the whole time. And we have 2 more tomorrow, so I can't enjoy too much. We got to keep working and celebrate after the weekend.
Certainly has the pace, and who's going to get to carry that pole position into the 2 races that we do have on hand tomorrow. For Cameron Bobier, it is a 14th podium result for you here this season, keeping your name alive in terms of the championship points hunt. But for you, there was another big save out there, the feel at the front end of the motorcycle. What do you need to be able to attack tomorrow?
Yeah, first of all, I just got to give it up to my Tyler's BMW crew. They put 2 bikes together yesterday after I had man, the worst Friday I've had in a long time, throwing 2 bikes away. So big thanks to them. They stayed late, fixing everything up, and we felt a lot better this morning. Not as close as we wanted, but yeah, that race, I gave it everything I possibly had. I was sliding, losing the front, losing the rear, and yeah, it's bittersweet to you know, come up short, but Bob was riding so good. You know, he just had pace on everyone, and me and Josh had a good battle to the line, and yeah, like I said, bittersweet, happy with how I rode, but it's crunch time. You know, we got to close points on this guy, and he's riding really good. So, like I said, hats off to my crew. Bell, Alpine Stars, Man Above for keeping us safe out here. Having a lot of fun at New Jersey. I love this track. I love the crowd that comes out here. So big thanks to them, and we'll go try to get them tomorrow.
Huge group of fans on hand here this weekend. 13 points now separate first and second in the Superbike Championship. Now, Josh Heron, seeing him up on the podium, that's not the surprising part. But if you would have looked at the starting grid, starting back on the 4th row, seeing yourself up here on the podium, that start, now that you know you can execute it, what do you need to be able to stay up there?
We definitely got to get the V4 off the line like we did today. Yeah, like I talked to you about before the race, I was pretty nervous about that start, and just this track is so hard to pass on. So I got a really good start there at the beginning, lucked out with that one, and yeah, just couldn't hang with Bobby. And then, you know, at the end of the race, Cam came by me there, and I had no idea that it was the last lap. I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought there was like 8 laps to go, and I was kind of trying to get along the side of him, I saw a white flag wave, and I'm like, whoa, what the heck's going on? This is the first time in my life that a race went by that quick, and I had no idea the white flag was coming out. So he was pushing super hard on the last lap. We were both sliding around, and I tried everything I could to get back around him, but I just couldn't. So, yeah, hats off to Bobby and Cam for running a good race, and happy we got 2 more tries at it tomorrow. That was a fun race. You know, you don't want to see anybody pull away like Bobby did there, but he was just riding good, and we just got to give it our all tomorrow. We're starting on the back foot with our grid position, but that's just the way it goes. You know, that's racing. It makes it interesting, and just kind of have a little bit of fun with it. So thanks to the entire Warhorse, HSBK Racing, Ducati New York team. Thank you to Infrahorse, Mount Airy Resort and Casino, KYT Helmets, OnlyFans, Alpine Stars. Thank you to Watson Services for coming on board this weekend. And yeah, just looking forward to tomorrow. So see you guys.
What do they say? Time flies when you're having fun. Congratulations on the podium. Greg?
Yeah, but also looking at the fact that they got these front 3 got valuable information, and so hopefully not on the back foot tomorrow. Our coverage continues for Superbike Race 1 here at New Jersey Motorsports Park in a moment.
Continue our live plus coverage here of the podium, Superbike Race 1. See Beaubier there, Bobby Fong. Big race for all 3 of these guys, I think. So we want to see when the championship is on the line between these 3. You could see here just in their interviews how much this race meant to all 3 of these guys. And for Bobby, he was able to stand through the pressure and really good ride. The Yamaha we knew was going to work good here this weekend, and Bobby's riding phenomenal as well. So there's just it's a tough combination to beat when you got a rider like Bobby riding the way he's riding, and then also on a really good team. But you know, Herron and Beaubier, they're going to stay here late tonight, work with their crews, see if they can't make some improvements and come out a little better tomorrow. And you know, one thing they're going to have to watch out for tomorrow, I think, is Sean Dillon Kelly right there as well toward the end of that Superbike race. So, you know, it's another name that they're going to look for. As you see, Herron up there going to collect his 3rd place there with Beaubier there on the podium as well. And for Bobby Fong, I think he's getting used to this up here on top of the podium. Could hear him. I liked in his interview where he said he couldn't celebrate this victory yet. It's just, I love listening to these podium interviews on the first race, and somebody comes out and wins a Superbike race, and he's already, you know, extends his points lead. He's already thinking about going into the races tomorrow, how big tomorrow are. He knows how good the 2 guys he's fighting with this championship. And Bobby's team, they did it before, so I think he can lean on that as they go into the 2nd and 3rd race tomorrow. There's still 50 points up for grabs for these guys, so you can just see it on their face. You can see the intensity. You know, after the Superbike races, you usually see these guys laughing and cutting up and smiling, but you can see they're already thinking about working with their crews. Bobby Fong's dad there, it's great to see him here this weekend. It's a big weekend for the Fong family. They put a lot into Bob's racing, but they got a little more to go, like he said. Hopefully we're celebrating tomorrow night. So Bobby's got a little work to do. It's got to be a little bit better going into tomorrow. He did have the opportunity to follow Herron for a little while, so he could have picked up a couple things, maybe that his bike's doing better or worse compared to the Ducati, where maybe they can improve at tomorrow. All those other guys got to sit behind Bobby. They know where he's pulling away. They're talking about they were sliding and losing the front end toward the end of that race. So they got some work to do overnight. The track was a little slick. We'll see what the weather does tomorrow. Everybody's going to be watching the radar. There's maybe some rain in the morning. It's supposed to clear up during the afternoon, but you can never know. Going to be some rain tonight. It's going to wash that rubber off if it does rain. So track conditions, again, we've heard them talk yesterday how it was greasy. Tomorrow might be the same story when we head into race 2 and 3. Looking forward to that. Bobby Fong, race 1 winner, extending his Superbike points lead.
MotoAmerica Superbikes is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, and by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes, live on top sports books and DFS platforms all season long.
Back here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, and here's a look at race 1 that just happened.
Well, you're going to see here that the Yamahas did a great job getting off the line 1-2, but that guy on that red Ducati from 10th on the grid, Herron positions himself into 3rd place early. And those laps that both him and Beaubier got today are the most they've put together on the weekend in a row. So they're going to learn from this, try to come back. As you see, Fong took the lead early, led for the majority of the laps. Herron dropped in behind, saw some opportunities where he could improve, and he did. He was able to get out of that last corner with Fong, then make a pass going down into turn 1. Fong replayed that favor about 3 laps later. And Greg, really at this point, we thought it was going to stay pretty tight, but it was a few events that happened. Number 1, Perrin makes a little mistake out of the last corner, gets passed by Beaubier. Beaubier would lose the front end. Perrin then would go back past Beaubier down into turn 1 to try to go after the number 50, only to have that favor replayed to him again. This guy, Greg, goes out and wins by some almost 4 seconds with all the pressure on him. Bobby Fong found a way to get it to the front and stay there.
Trying to get after that national championship with only 2 races to go of 20 on the season. It's 13 points now. Bobby Fong has advantage over Beaubier. Herrin, 31. There's 50 points on offer, so these 3 still in the middle of a championship fight. All right, more from New Jersey Motorsports Park when we get back after race number 1.
Coverage finished Superbike race number 1 of 3 for the weekend. What a battle we had for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th during that race. But now we move our attention over to the king of the baggers. You know, Kyle Wyman last weekend was able to end up on the podium and get himself a championship there. But Hayden Gillum, we just seen in the Superbike race, Hayden had that crash there on the opening laps of the Superbike race. Looks like he was up and okay. But unfortunately for him, he did go down. But now he's got to move his thoughts over to the bagger. He's been fast all weekend. His teammate has also been really fast all weekend. The Revzilla Moto Vincent Hines Harley team the last couple rounds have been really impressive. Last race, Rocco didn't have the qualifying that he wanted, but he was able to put it together in the races. Had a little bit of bad luck, but he did have the pace for that. You see Matthew Chapin out there, Twins Cup rider winner today, holding the umbrella for Rocco, maybe telling him how to get it done like he did earlier today. Big race for Rocco. Really impressive all weekend. Only a couple tenths off pole position. Had a couple personal best sectors in qualifying. But for him, he is going to be starting right there on the front row. Going to be on the inside as they go down into turn 1. Going to be important for him to get a good start. And right between the 2 Vincent Hines Harleys is Cameron Peterson on the SDI Indian. Great weekend for Cam. He has been fast. He's broke the track record a couple times. He had pole position until the last lap this morning in qualifying. Hayden was able to come by and get it. He won the Mission Challenge earlier. He's been fast. He led the sessions yesterday right there in the middle of the front row. He's been fast. He's been consistent, and he's going to be strong going into this race. And then we look at the 2025 champ, Kyle Wyman. Been just a little bit off this weekend compared to those guys, but we know Kyle's a champion for a reason. He's going to be able to step up. He's got to find a couple tenths a lap if he wants to go with Hayden and Cam and Rocco, but if anybody can do it, Kyle's got the championship. He knows how to get it done. You can see he has nothing to worry about this race. He doesn't have to worry about points. He doesn't have to worry about just being consistent. Just has to go out there and get a good race. You see him putting that clear visor on. The clouds starting to come in, so you see some riders changing to a clear visor. James Erspoli, not the qualifying he wanted, missed out on that Mission Challenge there in 7th, but we know James. He knows when the lights go out. He's one of those guys that knows how to throw down those first couple laps, and he will work his way past a couple guys. He's got his teammate there, Bradley Smith, and Loris Baz, the guy's 2nd in points there on the 3rd row. So we'll see how this shakes up. Jake Lewis qualifies 10th on the Saddleman Harley as we get ready for Bagger Race number 1.
This is what matters. 3 still left in this Superbike Championship with race action tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. It's coming down to the wire. We'll see you then.
Welcome back as we continue to get ready for the King of the Baggers, race 1 there. We see on the grid how packed it is. All the riders getting ready to see Max Flenders, where he got his first King of the Bagger podium, first professional ever podium. But we got Joe down on the grid. We're going to send it down to her and see what she can come up with.
Thank you, Roger. Well, just a little insight that there is a little bit of drizzle starting to come down on the track here, but hopefully it won't get much heavier than this by the time the race starts. I've got pole sitter Hayden Gillam here. Now, Hayden, we did see you take a tumble in the Superbike race just now, so let's first ask you how you are feeling. How is the body heading into this race?
Oh, it's fine. It was just stupid mistake on my part. Decided to touch somebody else's rear tire, so that usually doesn't go very good. But no, I'm fine, and I'm just ready to put that behind me and have some fun in this one. It's kind of, you know, the unfortunate part of me crashing in Superbike Race. You know, it sucks, but it gives me a little bit of time to relax before this one, so I'll be a little bit more fresh than I normally am for this race. So hopefully that's a good thing.
Well, it's nice to be starting from the front. Let's take it over to Pete.